Well, hello and happy Monday. I'm back on the Big Island and I wanted to share a few other benefits that I have realized that I have received since changing to an all meat carnivore lifestyle. Also, I wanted to talk about some of the topics that we're going to be going through on my Javi Health Bites because I am excited to be able to relay 3, maybe sometimes 4 different health bites every day. I was on the plane coming back here over the weekend and put together all of the different topics, put together the various tabs that I'm going to be going through, and it's pretty amazing. I think I have about 200, maybe 250 different health bites, things that I've picked up over the last 3 years or so since I've been studying health. And as I mentioned before, starting with functional health and then going on to more of a meat-based diet, what I've learned with all the different doctors I've listened to, the papers I've read, the studies I've dove into. So I want to go ahead and start though by talking about some of the new benefits that I'm seeing. And thank you to my daughter, Lily Budd, who suggested that I do the camera lengthwise landscape. I don't know if anyone else will ever watch this, but it probably looks a little better if you're watching it. So let's go ahead and get into some of the new benefits. And one thing I mentioned before that I realized truly is a new benefit is the fear of flying that I've had my entire life. I've always white knuckled it whenever there's bumps. First thing I think about is where's the drink cart? I need a drink. Just very, very nervous. All those little bumps just bothered me so much. And now it doesn't bother me at all. I just remember what somebody told me years ago. They're like, oh, those are just like speed bumps if you're driving. Not a big deal. You're perfectly safe. And just think about that, I'm fine. Fear is gone. And then I was thinking about that and how I was, the fear was gone. I thought, well, how come I'm not like super fearless in all other areas of my life? And then I thought about it, and I was listening to a podcast yesterday where a couple people talked about their fear has reduced extremely with different aspects of fear they had in their life. And I thought, just recording this, I never would have done this last year. I've always had a fear of putting myself out there. And now I want to actually do another channel talking about health insurance benefits and some of the cost saving solutions. So anyway, just the thought of putting myself out there used to freak me out. Now I'm like, whatever, if I could get the word out, help people, that's my underlying drive, is helping other people. So that was very cool to realize that truly that fear, and that's 2 aspects of my life now, the fear of putting myself out there on YouTube and the fear of flying are gone. So let's hope some of the other fears go away. But one thing I also heard another person talk about the benefits of going on an all meat-based diet is that the mosquitoes do not like me anymore, which is amazing. I used to get eaten alive all the time. Every time I went out at dusk or even the morning, if I was golfing, I had bites all over my legs. Now it's like 0 bites. It's like, maybe I don't have that sweet smell anymore because I'm not eating all the carbs. But yeah, pretty amazing to not have bug bites. I'm thrilled about that. Another thing that I heard somebody talk about recently that I thought did affect me is that the benefits of going from keto to carnivore. I had so many benefits going keto, and I was there for about 3 years where I lost 10 pounds I didn't know I had to lose. I reduced some of my brain fog, and there's some other benefits that I had, but I still had the gut issues. I still had sleep issues, things like that. So really took that next step when I went to carnivore and eliminated the vegetables, which was the weirdest thing because I always thought vegetables were healthy, but they were not healthy for my body. And as soon as I cut those out, and now I'm going on 7 months here, in about a week it'll be 7 months, that gut issues are completely healed. I sleep like a dream. I never wake up in the middle of the night. My dreams are super vivid. That's another thing. I all throughout carnivore, I'd have a dream maybe once a month or something that I remember. Now, every single night, very vivid dreams, very cool. I love that. And then, so that there was a lot more benefits that really hit me in the last couple months. Like I mentioned, the fear of flying really just hit me the last couple months, or eliminating the fear of flying, I should say. Also, in the last couple weeks, I dropped another couple pounds, which I thought was interesting because I had been holding at the same weight for like the last several years, and then I just dropped a couple more pounds, and now I feel like I really am at my ideal weight. I thought I was at my ideal weight, but I think it just, that being on carnivore for 6 months, and it allowed my body to heal and release some of those toxins that were holding me back. So I feel great. No changes in the energy. In fact, yesterday I went out to pull a couple weeds and I ended up gardening for like 2 hours, dripping with sweat. I hadn't planned on that because I wanted to take it easy yesterday. But it was amazing energy. I felt great. My back didn't hurt at all this morning. Whenever I would do gardening in the past, the next day my back would be a little bit sore. Zero pain this morning. One thing I noticed about my husband, and he'll probably laugh if he ever sees this, but he used to have like, his face would like go right into his neck. It's like he had no defined chin line at all. And even though I have a little bit of a double chin still, I'm noticing that on me and on him. Like he had like a really thick neck, and really, and like the chin and the neck were like all one. And now he has like this really nice jawline and a neck, and it's interesting. And I've seen that with a lot of the other carnivore people that have talked about that weight loss. You know, not having the weight on your neck has to be so much better because that's on your carotid artery, that's on your lymph nodes. So I'm just so grateful that he lost that neck fat when going to carnivore. One benefit that is, maybe it's not really a benefit, but going out to eat is pretty easy. You know, you look at the menu and you can kind of figure out what you want. You kind of might, if it's a burger, you just eat the burger. You don't, just the patty, you don't necessarily eat all the other stuff. And what I've done recently, last week I had client lunches, I had a big event. I would usually get like a fruit cup on the side and just maybe eat a strawberry or two. That's it. And then leave the rest. Nobody notices. Nobody really cares if you leave food on your plate. It's not like you have to clean everything off your plate. And then it's so easy. Like I'll get, if I'm at lunch, I'll get a salmon, and then I'll just, usually it's a pretty good sized piece of salmon. I'll eat the salmon and leave everything else on the plate. Or sometimes if I'm brave, I'll just be like, just bring the salmon and no sides. And sometimes if you're with people who don't know you're on a meat-based diet, they might look at you kind of funny, like, what the heck, why don't you want the rice and the vegetables? But so I usually just kind of leave it there on the plate, just be like, oh, I'm so full. But the one thing that I don't want is, I don't want people to feel sympathy. That's always driving me nuts. I don't want them to be like, oh, I'm so sorry you can't eat the vegetables. I'm so sorry you have to do this. Like, I want to do this. It's my choice. And I like some vegetables, but I much rather eat meat. If I had a choice between a steak and vegetables, or a burger and vegetables, or even a salmon and vegetables, I'd pick the salmon and the steak and the burger every single time. So I hope that, you know, people don't ever feel sympathy, because it's usually the other way around. I kind of sympathize for them, that they don't know about this way of eating and living and how great I feel. I'm at 55, no meds, I sleep like a baby, tons of energy. My body looks like I did when I was in college, and well, okay, maybe this chin wasn't here, but that's just saggy skin. What else? So I guess, well, I wish I had done this when I was in my 20s. I think about, man, I probably would have had so much more success. I would have had more fearlessness in life. I would have probably done so much more. I mean, I'm really happy with my life right now, but I think, gosh, if I knew this in my 20s, I wouldn't have had gut issues for almost 20 years. I wouldn't have had sleep issues. The stress would have been a lot less. I wouldn't have gained those extra 10 pounds that I carried around for about 20 years. So yeah, I wish I would have done this in my 20s. And I wish that other people, if they're struggling with weight or body image or food addiction or any other type of addiction, they try this. And speaking of addiction, that's one other thing. I'm not addicted to alcohol, but I know it runs in my family. And like during COVID, I would have drinks every day. Now it's like we don't drink it all during the week, and even now on the weekends, unless we're like out with a friend or guests that come into town to visit us, we really don't even drink on the weekends. And I just have my sparkling water with lime or LaCroix in a fancy glass, and I am good to go. I sleep great, and if I do drink, I'll probably just have like the one glass of Pellegrino or something like, or Prosecco, like I mentioned before. So I'm going to jump into the Hobby Health Bites because I put together all the different topics, like I said, on the plane coming back. And I was looking at my different topics, and I have mental health and hormones, eating, health philosophy, policy, chronic disease, what else do I have? Labs and habits. Those are the categories I put them in. So I was looking at those, I'm like, what's the most important thing for me to get out there? And I guess I'm just so encouraged by the whole MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. And hopefully we can get chronic disease down in our country. It's just bankrupting our healthcare system. It is just, so many people are suffering. I've seen so much death and despair around me with Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's and cancer, heart disease. I want to see people really take control of their health. So here's some of my healthcare policy health bites. The first one is that, we spend $4.6 trillion on healthcare in America. $4.6 trillion on healthcare. That's just an unfathomable number. That's just amazing. And when you think of healthcare, what is it today? It's not really healthcare, it's sick care. So we're spending all that money on sick care. Not good. And then when you think about specific stats, that 1 out of every 4 healthcare dollars are being spent on type 2 diabetes. Well, type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes, but now, because so many children are getting it, they changed the name to type 2 diabetes. And from what I can see, it's almost completely preventable and reversible. Unlike type 1 diabetes that might not be reversible or preventable, but type 2 diabetes is based on lifestyle. Scary. So 1 out of every 4 healthcare dollars, so about $1 trillion a year, is being spent on something that is preventable. It's an unbelievable number. Also, the current system, I like this, is kind of like a bunch of janitors. Picture janitors, they're out there mopping up the floor, mopping, but nobody's turning off the faucet. So the faucet's leaking, and the janitors are like our healthcare system. All they do is mop up the floor, but nobody thinks to turn off the faucet. I like that analogy. And then I heard another one I thought was good, focusing kind of on some of the medicines we have in our country today. A lot of them are really just treating the smoke, but they're ignoring the fire. They're ignoring the fire that's roaring inside of us, whether it's heart disease or diabetes, whatever it is. They're ignoring how do we get rid of that? They're just putting the Band-Aid on it and treating the smoke. And then what I think we're going to see with the MAHA movement is that our healthcare policy really needs to change to go to teaching metabolically healthy habits. So instead of treating all these ailments, which we still need to treat, we need to save people, and absolutely, but we need to also add that other element of teaching people how to really help their metabolic health. Okay, so we're almost at 15 minutes, so I'm gonna save the next few bites for my next video, but hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon. Thanks for watching.